Hello, and welcome to a new and quite different episode of Liverpool Stories Podcast. We're not in Liverpool. I'm currently in Colwyn Bay, and this is actually my first time here. I love North Wales, one of my favourite places to go and visit. I've never been to Colwyn Bay before, so we've come to Colwyn Bay. I'm walking to Snoop. Snoop's enjoying himself. He's absolutely exhausted. Poor thing. There's another dog coming, and I bought a lead earlier this year which ties around my waist, and it's one of the most helpful things I've ever bought because Snoop's not even 2 yet, and he's just so energetic all the time. But yeah, me and Snoop are having a walk around Colwyn Bay. Did you have your fun, Snoop? Did you? Yeah, we're having a walk, and also I'm with my friend Sean. Sean's one of my good friends. He goes on Instagram by the name IchBinGen. And he's actually one of the city's best photographers. And I'm not just saying that because he's a good friend of mine. He genuinely is a fantastic urban street photographer. And I wanted to start doing this because me and Sean go on little ventures quite often where we go for walks. We walk all over the place. I love hiking, you see, so quite often I go to like the Lake District on hikes and all over the place. So quite often we go on these little ventures and I say, mate, like, you're taking so many photos, I should be doing little videos here. So we've decided to sort of collab on it, really. I'll be putting loads of his photos into this video, photos he's taken today on this walk and maybe some other photos. But it's quite an exciting time for Sean because at the minute, he's currently shortlisted for the National Geographic Awards. I believe it's in the category of urban street photographer. And he was shortlisted, but not only that, he's now a finalist. He's like in the final few to win it. So he's him with a very good shot. He's a fantastic photographer. And he's going down to London this week. Hopefully, with any luck, I'll try and release this episode on the day that he's up for the award. Or potentially when he wins it, because I believe he's good enough to do so. But yeah, Sean's a good friend of mine. He's worked with me in the Beatles story like 11 years ago. That's where we met. So yeah, let me introduce you to Sean. Okay, so yeah, this is Sean, and I'm probably hoping to quickly edit this and hopefully get it out on the day that you win the National Geographic Award.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Would be nice. So, Sean's off to the National Geographic. What category is it again?
So it's photo of the year for a photo taken in an urban environment, which is pretty cool, to be honest.
What photo did you use?
So I used a photo of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, done in a sort of Mondrian Rothko style, which is like primary colours and just shows the sort of madness of the place, really.
Okay. Snoop's getting in the way.
Yeah,
standard. Yeah. Like literally, we've walked the entire coast here of Colwyn Bay, and Snoop, he's been a pain in the arse the whole time, to be fair, hasn't he? But it's typical once you start the camera. But yeah, you're up for 2 awards at the minute. So you're up for this one with the National Geographic.
Yeah.
And you've kind of been sworn to secrecy. You did post about it, but then you had to take the post down quickly.
Yeah, well, they said put it up and put it online. And then within the hour they said, oh, mistake, let's take that back down. So yeah, I've sort of been half sworn to secrecy. So on the 28th, I'll find out if I've won or if I'm one of 4, so...
See, one of 4 is amazing though, isn't it? Because it's National Geographic.
For National Geographic, it's absolutely huge. And it's an amazing honour to sort of be... Because I don't know how many people would have entered, probably about 5. But to be one of 4 is a great achievement in what I'm doing. And I'm just glad that it's nice to be recognised for the work that I do. And, you know, I'm glad someone likes it.
Mate, like, genuinely, I'm biased because I'm your mate, but I think you're one of the best photographers in Liverpool, especially at the minute. I know there's some good photographers in the city.
We've got amazing photographers everywhere, you know, and especially with social media now, there's so many people who do photography, and it's a really good thing to see different viewpoints of everything, and, you know, everyone has their own unique vision of what photography is and, you know, where they want to take it, and I have mine and my own ideas. So yeah, but to be recognised like from a magazine such as National Geographic really makes you go, okay, I'm doing good work.
Yeah, but like you said, like you've got your own ideas with photography, and everyone has their own ideas. But typically, when people think of photographers, you think almost corporate or wedding. Like you're coming at things from more of an artistic background, aren't you?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I
don't
started.
mind me saying.
Yeah, well, I started as a painter, so I loved like composition and making different things, and always trying to come at it as like, oh, I want to be a pretentious artist. And it, you know, I owned an art gallery and I did little things of it, and it never really worked out. And then I bought a camera, and then suddenly everyone started actually liking what I did, and I thought, oh, hang on a minute. This is actually what I'm meant to do, and I've just got a massive passion for it. So every day is like get out there, take photos, and it is just a passion. I just can't stop it, really. You know.
But you said about your art just then. Like I've always liked your art. Like when I moved to town, so I became your neighbour in like 2016. Say neighbour, but like we live very close together. But like straight away, you give me a painting, and I had on my wall. I moved away, and I gave it back to you. And I was like, "Can I have that painting back?" And from every house I moved to, I kept taking your artwork. So you've got some good artwork as well as your photography. Like,
yeah, the artwork's okay, but it didn't make any money. that was the issue.
Yeah.
You'd pour your heart and soul into it, and you know, everyone would go, "I really like that," and then that would be it, really. And I never knew really where to take it, and I don't think I really enjoyed it all that much. I enjoy creating and I enjoy making different things, but it never really was like, didn't really come natural to me. It did a bit, but you know, the passion for it was not there really. I still enjoy it, but yeah, I think photography really was like, oh, actually I get this, and I can work this, and I can make things look really good by taking photos of it rather than trying to store it in my own head and then paint it when I got home.
Do you feel like it comes from the same sort of, I don't know, the creative process, if that makes sense? Is it the same sort of creative heart?
Yeah, completely. I think it is a very creative sphere to be a photographer, and you know, a lot of people don't consider photography as art, but I definitely do, and I think it really goes hand in hand for me. So I don't really know many photographers or many famous photographers. I know a few, but my background's in painting and art, so all my sort of compositions and everything that I've learned about composition, colour and all that all comes from the art world, and it's just mixed into photography. And it's all about trying to capture that. But then you're working in a fun environment, like today being out here, and you know, you're working with members of the public or things that you find, and it's nice to then get that sense of it.
By the way, this is what it's always like with them. It'd be like, we'd be walking along, just chatting, and then like mid-conversation, and just quickly take a picture.
But yeah, you know, it's stuff that you see, and it's totally random, so it's really nice to be able to make random events and make them look beautiful in a way, bring order to the world in a little way, you know, and show people what I see when I'm walking around, or, you know, show you my vision of the world.
Well, say your vision of the world, like your photography, like I was saying a moment ago, it is quite different from like general like corporate photography. Although I've seen you do corporate stuff, I've seen you do weddings and stuff, but yours is artistic. So when you're saying the way in which you see the world, like quite often you upload like every day on your Instagram. But quite often it's like, I don't know how to say it. It is how you see the world, and it's almost like you're reading behind the photo, if that makes sense. That's how I view it anyway.
Yeah,
I can't look at your work and go, okay, what's he trying to say here?
Yeah, there's always something to say. I think that goes into the sort of pretentious sort of style of me really, and like it's like I don't just take a photo because it's pretty, you know. Aesthetics is one thing, but then if you can tell a story with aesthetics, and you can give people a sense of like the times that we live in, the places that we live in, social, political, economical struggles, or the opposite of like excess and stuff like that, and you get to show it in photos, and I think that's the important part, is storytelling through it, and showing people the times that we live in. And I think that's where I really like what I do with the photography world, where I can never really do that with painting. You know, I could want to and try and create a world where I could show these things, but it's much better when I've just got actual life in front of me, you know. And I think that makes better art in a way.
Okay. Do you remember when we first met, Sean? Remember the day?
I do remember the day, yeah, in the Beatles story.
Yeah.
Working in the Beatles story, looking after Paul McCartney's bass guitar.
That was cool, to be fair. But it's a weird one because me and Sean, like, we hang around together. You know, we've been good mates for over a decade now. But, like, we're different in a way.
Yeah,
we know this
completely,
because it's like, and I think it's one of the things that makes it quite cool. It's like, I don't know, even when we're out, years ago, it was like, I was tall, still am, the Cliff.
Yeah, I'm still short.
Sean short with dreadlocks. It was like always polar opposite in how we looked. But the reason I'm saying this is I do still view myself though as creative. So when like speaking about your creative process and everything like that with art, I view myself as creative, but when it comes to tours and storytelling and things like that. But when me and Sean first met, it was obvious that we were opposites, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it was so obvious that it was like,
Well, we were both on different paths at the time. I think we've both changed over the years. But, you know, I was, 24 or something, or 20, no, probably like 27. And I still had this very much a punk ethos and was a bit like, yeah, whatever, you know, which probably wasn't the best way to be when you turned up.
and then I was quite the opposite. Like, I was so far from rock and roll. Not that I am anyway rock and roll these days, but it was like I was so far away from it because at the time when I met Sean, I was married. You know, I was a young dad, and probably, I don't know, I'd say a lot more serious, but I was just off the back of coming out of a very religious upbringing in my childhood, and it was a weird time in life when we first met.
Yeah.
But there's a dog there. Snoop's just dragging me. Like, my hips are just going flying while Snoop drags me along. But yeah, we were in different paths, and then me and Sean met. And I remember when we first met thinking, I'm not going to like this guy. Like,
He didn't like this guy.
genuinely, we didn't. Like, pretty much from the moment we met, we were just like, "Ugh."
Yeah, but I was like, oh, everyone likes me. Turns out, no, not a lot of people liked me, which is fine.
Oh dear. I thought I was liked as well, but maybe not. But yeah, it was weird because it didn't seem like in any way we'd be mates. But the first day we met, I'll never forget it. And we've laughed about it ever since. We've laughed about it ever since because what happened was, come on, Snoop. This dog, man. This dog, man. Yeah, it really, yeah. The first day we met, I'd only just started working at the Beatles story, and they brought in Paul McCartney's bass guitars. Now I'm talking Paul's backup bass, his Union Jack bass as well.
Yeah.
And they brought in a one-of-a-kind Revolver bass, which had been designed by Klaus Vormann, of course. And it was so beautiful, man. But we're going to continue this, because speaking of beautiful, this is like, to be honest with you, we just drove to Colwyn Bay, and I forgot this statue actually existed. But we're here, Terry Jones, Monty Python. A statue here on Colwyn Bay. A few people gathered around it. Terry Jones was from Colwyn Bay, turns out. Now, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to Monty Python and Monty Python history, I cannot in any way claim to be an expert on this subject. So, one thing I will say is, being someone who is the owner of George Harrison's house in Liverpool, I am a huge fan of Monty Python, based on the fact that George fully funded the Life of Brian films, didn't he? Well, the film Life of Brian. And famously Eric Idle said it was the most expensive cinema ticket that anyone ever paid, because the studios refused to make Life of Brian. And George read the script and then just said, I want to see it. So he just paid for it to be made, which is incredible. So yeah, George was a huge Monty Python fan, so it's actually quite nice just to be here now and see this Terry Jones statue. So I'll continue this chat with Sean in just a moment. So that was fun. So Sean, the day we met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I used to love cigarettes, and the day Dale came along and was like, hello, I'm the new guy. And I was like, no, he's obviously a bit wet behind the ears, he doesn't know what's going on round here. So, so I sort of rubbed my hands with glee because I've been sat by these bass guitars for probably about 2 hours. And so I said, hey mate, you love the Beatles, don't you? And he's like, yeah, I do, yeah. So I said, do you fancy looking after them for a bit? And I just left, went down the fire escape for a cigarette, and I didn't come back.
Yeah, everyone else though had like microphones and walkie-talkies, I should say. They had walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
I had I was just stranded. I couldn't leave the guitars.
Just left him there. And I thought he'd love that because he loves the Beatles and
Well, that was a very important lesson from day one in the Beatles industry. I was like, this is so cool. It's Paul McCartney's backup bass guitar, and I'm made up because it's a Beatles thing. And I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Like secretly touching it, plucking the strings.
Yeah,
and I realised very quickly,
I did play on it a bit.
Very quickly, the novelty kind of dies a moment when you're just like, I'm standing here on my own. Like, so yeah, that was the first day we met, and I thought, I don't like this guy.
I just left him right next to some lovely Beatles memorabilia, and he's like, oh, I don't like him. Don't like him. I gave you an opportunity that you'd never have.
That was funny, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's a memory. To be fair, if that didn't happen though, like I can't remember like the first time I met like most people, but I do remember that first meeting with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember saying to the lads, I said, what's he about? So he left me for like 2 hours on my own. Oh dear.
Yeah.
But no, mate, we ended up good mates though, of course. Here we are, 11 years later, walking on Colwyn Bay. But yeah, man, mad times. And you obviously, we won't go into this story. This one is
which one?
How we both ended up leaving that job.
Oh
We won't go
yeah.
into that one. But Sean ended up leaving, and then I ended up leaving. What was about 3-4 months afterwards, I think it was. By that point, we'd become very close mates. So, also, yeah, this is Colwyn Bay that we're walking around, and the bay itself. The coastline's absolutely stunning. It's a nice, like you can see that the architecture historically is really nice. At the minute there's like a lot of scaffolding up on places, and like we're walking past this place right now and that tree was on fire a little bit earlier. So it's like, yeah, it's an interesting place, an interesting town. But equally, Wales is one of my all-time favourite places. I absolutely love Wales, especially North Wales. It's been many years since I've been to South Wales, to be fair. But I love Wales, beautiful place. The coastline's just stunning. And yeah, but yeah, Colwyn Bay, first time visiting. Interesting little town. Yeah, it's a strange one because while Colwyn Bay's town centre looked very quiet and quite derelict, which is really quite sad. And I say the town centre, I'm talking just for those who might watch this who are from Colwyn Bay. I'm talking about the area around Morrison's, and it did seem like there was just too many empty shops for a Saturday, which is really quite sad. But equally one of the reasons why I love visiting Wales is because it's quiet. You get to visit the countryside, and you know, even the coastal line, you know, a lot of people still go there to the beaches, and it's beautiful, but equally, you know, it's quite quiet, and it's better than, you know, for me, it's a nice retreat from being in the city. But when we walked all the way down Colwyn Bay, we walked all the way down the coastline and ended up stopping, and I started chatting to this girl who was there with a couple of her kids, and she was dead nice. Sean started chatting to some fella who was a local photographer, I think, and we were just chatting, and I said, you know, what is there here? Like, any nice places? And she said, go and visit Angel Bay. And I said, okay, never heard of it before. So yeah, me and Sean have took a little trip just a little bit further north of Colwyn, or should I say west of Colwyn Bay. Just a little bit further along to what is Angel Bay, and this is incredibly remote. Like, there's really not much happening here. It's incredibly remote, but so beautiful. It's a great little find. So yeah, Colwyn Bay itself, as we walked along the coastline, there's loads of things, like in terms of, like there's drums and like musical instruments, and there's like, you know, pirate things and all sorts. So they have lots of things on the coast itself. And then the town centre itself seems quite quiet, but yeah, equally, I think everyone's just down the beach. But then this area here is such a beautiful little find. incredible place. And yeah. So the whole idea with this little, this is just going to be a mini series, by the way. And I wanted to sort of set up this episode today as a first kind of opportunity to introduce Sean to those who don't know him. Like anyone who's on my social media on Instagram will probably know him anyway, but I wanted to make sure that I could introduce him because me and Sean regularly go on these little walks, little adventures, and we're going to be doing plenty more of them. So today I'm using my phone, my iPhone, and I'm not going to lie, my arms hurting, just holding the phone out non-stop. But I've got a little DJI camera. We're going to be doing more of these little adventures and showing people more of probably the region around Liverpool and sometimes Liverpool itself. So yeah, as I say, drop us a follow, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah.